Staff, let me know when we're going out to the whole world here. Okay, welcome everybody here. Meeting's called to order here at 6 o'clock. Lindsay, may we have a roll call, please?
Chairperson Philip Goldstein,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Marty Jost, Commissioner Tom Wood,
Here.
Commissioner Wendy Newland, Commissioner Michael Lowry,
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Renzo Bianchi,
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Janelle Mines. Here.
Thank you. Commissioners, any amendments to the agenda? No, I have none.
I do want to make a note. We had included a continuance of the Plan Development District Land Use Code Amendment to today. We're not hearing it today. We're going to continue it to your next meeting.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I presumed as much, but I'm glad you clarified that. Determine alternate voting. Janelle, you'll vote tonight. And as I noted, I think Renzo voted last time according to the minutes. So you'll vote in Marty's absence. Public comment, need to mention this, an opportunity for anybody to speak on anything not on the agenda. Presume you're here perhaps on the agenda. Lindsay, I assume nobody else. I don't see anybody else out there. All right, so I'll close the general public comment. The consent agenda consists only of approval of the April 15th, 2025 meeting minutes. Commissioners, any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Nope, looks good to me.
Staff, any changes? Okay, with that, do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
A second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda, which consists of the April 15, 25 meeting minutes, is approved and signed. All right, we have one business public hearing item, and that is the conditional use permit for Ladera Storage. And this is yours, Chad, please. And Chad, I imagine you'll do this anyway, but again, for our new and newer commissioners, if you could mention, please, what the overarching circumstances are of a conditional use. And maybe if you can think of other examples, this in itself will be an example, but if you can think of anything else.
Yes, of
in
course.
the recent past, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson and Commissioners. As you mentioned, this item is for consideration of a conditional use approval for a self-storage facility located at the northeast intersection of Weitzel Street and Sweatsville Zoo Road and Ladera subdivision. Rehashing some of this, the subject property is Lot 1, Block 2 of the Ladera subdivision filing number 2, also known or referred to as 4882 Weitzel Street. The parcel is located at the east of Weitzel Street and south of Harmony Road. The property is bound by vacant unincorporated Larimer County property to the north, the Sweatsville property, vacant property to the east being the Ladera subdivision, as well as to the south, and then directly to the west across from Weitzel Street is Costco here in Timnath. So this site is zoned regional commercial where the use of a self-storage facility is designated as a conditional use. In accordance with table 2.1, which is on your screen, the hearing process and notice requirements, a conditional use review requires a public hearing with both you as Planning Commission for your recommendation and to the Town Council for their approval. As the Planning Commission, you do have the authority to recommend conditions on these conditional uses to ensure that the development review criteria 2.9.8 are satisfied. And in addition, the site plan was properly noticed, so public notice was physically posted on the property. Letters were sent to property owners within 500 feet of this boundary, and a hearing notice was published in the Coloradan. So I'd like to provide a little bit of added context, as you mentioned, Phil, as to what you're reviewing tonight, as it may have been a bit confusing reading the staff report, knowing that you've already reviewed the site plan for this application. But I'd like to start. So within the Town of Timnath Land Use Code in Table 4.1, it establishes the permitted uses within each zoning district. And so those that are represented by the symbol P refer to allowable uses within that underlining zone district, provided that they demonstrate full compliance with those development and technical standards. So if a site plan came through for you guys to review, that was a permitted use, you would be reviewing for compliance with the code criteria, and if that was satisfied, would move forward. Those represented with a PC refer to those permitted with conditions. Those are established within the land use code already predetermined. So they must demonstrate full compliance with the town standards as well as those conditions as outlined by the code. Then we get to the conditional uses, which are obviously represented by the C, referring to those which are determined to have unique or specific characteristics that could create greater than expected impacts on those surrounding areas. This results in a discretionary approval process that may include conditions to ensure they will not have significant adverse impacts, requiring additional application, which you're seeing tonight, and further review in addition to the site plan review criteria. So these are the uses that are permitted in the underlying zone district, but they're subject to specific conditions outlined either by recommendations from staff, U.S. Planning Commission, and then ultimately from the town council. These could address concerns proposed maybe with the site layout, such as concerns with traffic. Could that be hours of operation or access within the site, or screening if there's concerns with noise, light, sound, or other outside of the property, just as examples, or it could be specific to the use itself. So within this table that you're seeing on your screen, it is showing where the self-storage facility is shown as C within the regional commercial zone district. So that's how that would be determined moving forward as the use of that site. They are separate approvals from the site plan. So procedurally, they can be reviewed in varying orders. Typically, we would like to have those concurrent for your review at one meeting to ensure that those conditions could be implemented. Or it could be brought forward prior to a site plan in order to allow for maybe additional clarity on what that site may look like moving forward. This one is a little bit out of the norm, but still following the procedures. This is a requirement for this specific site. Next, I'm just going to briefly highlight the criteria for a conditional use criteria, that it is compliant with the regulations in the zoning districts unless accompanied by a variance approval or separate action, and that the plan conforms to the character of the area within the same zone district of which it's located. Again, shall have no more adverse effects on health, safety, or welfare of the surrounding properties, or shall be no more injurious to property or improvements in the area than would other generally be permitted in that district. Considerations to location, type, height, type and extent of landscaping, and then whether the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan are items to consider. Third, adequate utilities are to be provided. The proposed conditional use will not substantially impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property, and that no significant traffic issues will be created. Again, this property is zoned regional commercial, which is in compliance, aligning with the comprehensive plan designation of employment regional commercial. Again, the proposed use is located on a 1.7 acre site. The parcels, again, bound by unincorporated Larimer County to the north, which is represented on the graphic to the left there. To the right was Ladera's second filing, where there is a tract which is dedicated for open space, for future open space amenity. and to the south, additional regional commercial. As mentioned and discussed in our meeting last month, the proposal complies with the standards of the underlying regional commercial zone district and the Ladera Plan Development Overlay Amendment number 2. Happy to go over those a little further if you need to. I know we discussed it last month, so at this time, I'll just move forward without diving into that, but I am providing the site plan, the landscape plan here for your reference to reorient yourself with this site plan. It is important to note, though, that the property will operate daily, Sunday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. is what is being proposed, and will be staffed with 1 to 2 employees per shift. Trash disposal is proposed to be limited in a secure interior enclosure, accessible only to management. Tenant use will be strictly prohibited under the lease agreement provided by the applicant. Oops. Staff has reviewed the conditional use application and recommends that the approval be conditioned to limit the use of the lot to indoor storage only. Given that the property's location and proximity to existing commercial land uses and designated open space, we did not feel that an outdoor storage component would be appropriate for the site. The applicant is not proposing that with their application. However, we just wanted to condition the site to include that should there be a transfer of ownership. And additionally, staff has recommended that the condition to restrict the use of the facilities to storage functions only, including associated leasing and management offices. This is just intended to clarify that no other uses, including maybe a business operations or activities within those units, would be permitted. Lastly, through our review, staff has found that the application to be in compliance with the conditional use criteria. So again, just for reference, this was the application, the elevations that you reviewed last month. And with that, we are recommending approval of the conditional use permit to the town of Timnath with those following conditions as mentioned. With that, I will turn it over to the applicant team if they have anything to add.
Hello, my name is Stephen Crawford, and I'm here representing Jordan Architects and Ventana Capital. I want to thank you for another opportunity to present a project located at 4882 Weitzel Street. So jumping into a quick project overview. This project's located within the regional commercial zone, and it's also within the Ladera PD overlay. It is a 3-story, 103,205 square foot self-storage facility. Self-storage is a conditionally permitted use in the regional commercial zone. The facility will operate from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. There is secure access provided via 1 entrance gate and 1 exit and emergency vehicle access gate as well. It will be staffed by 1 to 2 employees during all hours of operation. And safe access is provided by a key code access system for doors and elevators, LED interior lighting, and security cameras throughout the building at all entry points. There's a total of 739 units, and we've calculated about 15 cars on site per day. So up next, I want to jump into a description of compliance with the conditional use review criteria. So the proposed building complies with the Timnath Land Use Code and the Ladera PD overlay. The proposed self-storage facility fully aligns with the conditional use review criteria outlined in the Timnath Land Use Code as demonstrated by the following points. Number 1, the project complies with all applicable standards of the Regional Commercial Zoning District and Ladera PD overlay. No variances are requested. The building meets all height and setback standards and features high-end materials and architectural articulation. Enhanced perimeter landscaping and a clean, low-impact use help the project integrate with its surroundings and align with the character of the regional commercial zone. The project will be fully served by public water, sewer, and electric systems. Utility providers have confirmed adequate capacity and uninterrupted service. Self-storage is a low-impact, quiet use with no outdoor activity. There will be no impact on disruptions to neighboring properties. And finally, self-storage generates minimal vehicle trips and traffic. And up next, we have a description of how we comply with self-storage specific CUP conditions. So the proposed self-storage facility fully aligns with the self-storage conditional use standards outlined in the Timnath Land Use Code as demonstrated by the following. Firstly, units are restricted to storage use only. No other occupancy or business activity is permitted. Only the leasing office will be used for operational needs. Secondly, all tenant storage is fully enclosed within the building. All drive aisles and parking areas are paved with concrete or asphalt, meeting code requirements. And there are no parking areas proposed for the storage of boats, recreational vehicles, or similar vehicles. And so here is a rendering from Sweatsville Zoo Road, shot of the office and the front entrance area. And this is a rendering from the roundabout from Weitzel Street. You can see we have a lot of articulation and high-end materials that we're calling out. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to you and see if there's any questions I can answer. Thank you.
Well, thanks. First, Chad, again, I know I caught you unawares. Can you, right off the top of your head, think of other conditional uses just to, again, we're kind of educating here on the fly and we haven't had conditional uses for the most part. Can you think of any others?
Yeah, I apologize. I
Good
meant to
exa-
add that into
That's
the
all right.
presentation.
It's okay.
Yeah, so we've had two conditional uses come in with the town, one being the Harmony Assisted Living Facility in the Harmony Club, the other being Maverick Fuel Station in Timnath Ranch, both of which were conditional uses within the Harmony corridor. So they went through this process where Planning Commission reviewed that to determine if there were any impacts created by those sites and whether or not you felt there were conditions that were appropriate to add to those approvals in order to mitigate any of those concerns. So those are two items, two uses that were determined within our code to potentially have greater impacts on the surrounding property. So additional review is required and town council's review as well.
Great. And with the, if I could go looking at the gas station that you mentioned, what were the, I refresh my memory, what were the specific issues that were pertinent, much as we're talking about no outdoor storage and no other business use of any of the units? What, give us the examples.
Yeah, I believe within that one, council determined, and Phil, you may have been a part of some of those recommendations, but with the fuel station, that there be hours of operation limitations as well as lighting hours of operation limitations. So those were two standards that were believed to have negative impacts on the surrounding properties, so they were conditioned as part of those approvals.
Great. And as I recall, going back to 2015, when used example, Timnath Beer Works, based on concerns of some of the residents,
Yes,
their
you're
hours
correct.
were limited.
Yes.
That was a conditional
That was
use
also a conditional use, yes.
with them
you're
as
correct.
well. And I think there was a parking issue, no parking in the railroad right away or something. None of you all were here then, I don't believe, but okay. And then the Harmony Assisted Living Facility, again, more recently, the conditional use nuances there were what?
Yes, so within that one, we had requested in council agreed that there was limitations on the lighting. We had limited to 3,000 Kelvin, the temperature of the lighting utilized there adjacent to those residential properties, as well as the request to provide additional screening to that western property line, also to help mitigate any concerns with that adjacent property of a different, lower use of development type.
Good. Those are good examples. Thank you. Okay, well, some of this is quite a bit of this is a rehash last time. I understand this is a bit of an anomaly doing the conditional use at this point, but better to get it right than to get it fast or something as the expression. So let's bring it up here for whatever few questions I would think there are, just nothing else to justify the fact that I took a shower for this very brief, otherwise brief meeting here.
So Phil, I want to say thanks to you and Chad because that was really helpful, the education on this one, because I was kind of confused because I thought when we reviewed the site plan, we had approved all this. And so I really appreciate the discussion.
Good. While you have the mic, do you have any questions?
Nope.
No. Okay, Michael?
No questions.
Wendy?
Yeah, I just have one question. Hey, Chad, could you go back to the map? This has nothing to do with the conditions, but what is that, the area just north of that property? Remind me, what is that zoned for?
So that is within Larimer County right now.
Yeah.
It is within the Employment Regional Commercial Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Designation. So it would align either with regional commercial or community commercial should that develop within the town.
Thanks.
Tom?
Yeah, I've got a few questions. Lighting, if you ever drive down I-25 and you look on the west side of the road, there's a big U-Haul storage, similar kind of a structure. The lights are on 24/7 and they're bright, shining into the night. Do you intend to have lighting like that?
I imagine staff can answer that too.
Yeah,
Because there are limitations on
I
that.
can add to that before they respond, but there are criteria within the code that they are to be diminished after, I think it's an hour after the hours of operation, can be put on no earlier than an hour before the operations begin. So there are limitations in the code that it would not allow for this site-specific lighting to be on throughout the night.
Yeah, I think particularly for the walls that face to the east and to the north, joining properties, we wouldn't want to have those kind of lights on. Whether or not it shine towards the back of the Costco, that may not be as big a deal. But I think that is one thing that I've noticed. Another question that I've got, how many total units are in the building plan approximately?
There's about 719.
So 700, and the ones on the ground level
Yes.
look to be like 10 by 20, so they could be used as garages, I suspect?
Yeah, you wouldn't store vehicles in there, but you can access them from the exterior.
So no vehicles. Are there any other restrictions like no hazmat, no gasoline, nothing flammable?
Yeah, no flammable materials, exactly.
Okay. And because I'm sure the fire code would do that. So if you have 700 spaces in the building and you only have 10 parking spaces, how do you expect people to go in and out and check their stuff?
So, like I said, we calculated about 15 cars on site per day. So even though there's about 700 units, a unit's only used by a tenant maybe once a month. They'll stop by. So yeah, we expect about 15 cars in total during the day. So 10 spaces should be plenty.
So you would expect people to park in the loading zones in front of the roll-up doors of the ground level units to then go up the elevator and load their things?
So if you look at the north side of the lot, we have parking area right there, and we have elevators located at the north side of the lot, so they could easily just load their stuff into the elevator and take it up.
Great. I was worried that you'd have to walk all the way around the building to get to the elevators.
Yes.
It didn't make sense. And yeah, my biggest concerns were, did we have enough parking? No hazmat, and lighting to make sure the lighting didn't stay on all night.
Yes, we'll make sure to comply with the code, Timnath land use code for that, for the lighting.
Okay, those are my questions, Phil.
Janelle, anything?
So I had a question about the security cameras. So it borders on some pretty big open space areas, and I was concerned that as people leave or decide not to take things into their storage, they may just try to illegally dump it. So I was wondering if there would be surveillance of license plates or something to that effect that would deter people from just taking it from that and dumping it in the open space.
Yes, there would. And there's also fencing around the perimeter of the lot. But to access the site, you have to go into the gate, and everybody has a personalized PIN as well. So we know exactly who's on site, when they left, and we'll have cameras so we can monitor their activity as well.
Great, thank you.
And I'm assuming the only entrance is off Sweatsville Zoo Road. The entrance on Wettsville Street is just for emergency access?
That's just an exit and for emergency access vehicles only.
I see.
Yep.
Commissioners, other questions? All right, thank you, Stephen. All right, with that, hearing no other questions, do I have a motion on, whoa, that's sort of metaphorical, isn't it? Do I have a motion on item 7A, conditional use permit for Ladera storage? Don't everybody speak at once.
Make a motion that we approve the Ladera storage conditional use permit.
That's good. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Very good. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Item 7A carries on a 5-0 vote. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, Richard.
Moving on to reports. Commissioners, anything for the good of the order? I think.
I have one comment. It may be a little silly, related to lighting. I remember when we discussed a property that was built across the street, and we asked them if they were going to have any bright flashing lights or lights that would go on, and they said, "Oh no, we're not going to do lighting like we have in our other station." And I noticed that there are actually lights out there, and they do flash. They're not quite as bad as the ones at the police station, but right across the street there are quite a number of lights. Is that something of concern to staff?
Do you know what he's talking about? I don't.
I'm assuming, I don't know what you're talking about.
The car wash.
You have the lights. We haven't received any complaints about lighting, so we would look at as Chad explained, there are some provisions about time of operation. I don't know about the specifics of that property. Then we would look at light trespass.
The lights are on all night. They sometimes flash, sometimes not. But they're not anywhere near as bad as the one that they have on the other side of Windsor. But I remember when they were here, they said, no, we're not going to have any flashing lights.
Yeah. So again, we could look at a code compliance thing. Typically that gets into light trespass. I'll have to look and see into if there's any conditions.
I'm sure that they'll
specific.
point a finger at the police station.
Well, I know town hall's got lights on its roof line too, so.
Yeah, they're not on all the time though.
No, it's only during the holidays.
Right. Fair enough.
There was also, it's supposed to be 2 buildings, I believe. There would have been on the south side of the car wash, which they haven't deemed necessary to proceed with, but that was, wouldn't be able to see the car wash quite as much. Any other questions, comments by way of report, staff, anything?
I do have one simple reminder. I asked everybody if we're okay to move in 5:30 and heard no complaints or.
And I also polled them. I told them in advance of this meeting to come be prepared to pass judgment on that. 1 or 2 mentioned no problem. Anybody have a problem with going to accommodate staff who's otherwise here long hours anyway? Moving to 5:30?
5:30 is fine with me.
Great, thank you. Yeah,
All right.
bylaws don't state that we have to start at 6, so I appreciate your flexibility. And so moving forward, we'll be starting plan commission meetings at 5:30.
Very good.
And thanks to engineering staff, with all the rain we've had, I haven't seen any terrible flooding out in the streets. Thank you.
When I would suggest it, are you going to start this 2 weeks hence? 5:30, 2 weeks hence from, and 2 weeks from now?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I would suggest mentioning in the email that goes out, call, in bold or something, maybe for me, if nothing else, but for everybody, just in case. So we all get used to that. That would be great.
Yeah, we can try to send a reminder too, I know we've been conditioned to 6 PM, so starting a new time, we'll make sure we remind everybody.
Okay.
You guys help me remember that too, so.
Okay, how about I'll send you a reminder so you can send us a reminder. Justin, does that sound, okay, you engineers here in the room, is that
Works for me.
sound like a precision? Okay. Anything else here, commissioners?